Start. Start. Finish! It's a tie! Start! Finish! Winners! Ready? Yeah! Start! Finish! Winners! Ready?
So now that I showed you guys my top 5 for the 2v2 minigames on Super Mario Party, I want to talk about why I chose those and why they're my favorites. So, number 5 was Mass of Glory. This minigame is so freaking cool, man. Like, you have 2 different teams, 2v2 obviously, and one team has to roll a dice, same as the other team. They times both of the numbers together, and whatever you get, your cannons blast some stuff at your enemy's fortress. And it's really, really cool. You have about 60 HP on each of the castles, and once the castle HP gets to 0, your team loses. Or if you got rid of the other team's HP on their fortress, you actually win. So it's a very awesome mini game that anyone could pick up and play. But the only gripe I have with it is that the dice rolls are not random. If they're not random, you can time it out perfectly. And in the gameplay that I showed off that I recorded myself, I hit the 6 about 2 times in a row. And that's just amazing. And my partner, who is a master CPU, actually got 5 both times as well. So we defeated our enemies in 2 turns. That's pretty crazy. But if it was a random dice roll, it would have been a little bit nicer and a little bit more chaotic for you playing with your friends and stuff like that to make it so that you had no idea what was going to happen. And with that, number 4, we have Pie Hard, which is a pun off of the hit Christmas special Die Hard back in the 90s. So in this mini game, you're on 2 sides. It's a lot like dodgeball, but you have pies, and you get to pick them up as much as you want on each side of the table. And once you get both of them in your hands, you can throw them at the other team, and they will get stunned a little bit for like 2 or 3 seconds, and you can still hit them with the second one, which is really, really cool. This is why I like this minigame so very much, because there's no invincibility frames. You could just go right in and take on the world, and it's very, very cool to play. This game just reminds me so much of dodgeball, and I just love dodgeball, so this is why this is on my list at number 4. So number 3, we have Dash and Dine. This one is really cool. It reminds me a lot of Overcooked. If you ever played that from Team 17, it's basically like that, where you have to go around the different areas and get the ingredients that you need to make the appetizers / the entrees for the people that you have to cook for. And there's a toad in the very center of the room who keeps moving around and blocks your way, trying to collect all the dishes and stuff. And you're like, dude, get out of the way. I'm trying to get my tomatoes. But it's really, really awesome because you have to have a little bit of strategy as well. Like, if you put all your ingredients onto the plates, then the next one will come after 5 seconds. But what you can do is get an ingredient from the other side of the area, and then once you do that, you can start running over immediately. But the risk is that you don't actually need that ingredient. So you have to run all the way back, put the tomato back down, or the lettuce, and then get the specified ingredient that you need. And that's why this is on number 3, because it's just so addicting to play. Alright, so number 2, we have Making Faces. And this minigame is really freaking cool. You know why? Because you and your partner are on different axes. And once you go, you can have 2 different arrows, up, down, or left, right, depending on where you are. And you have to put down each part of Mario's face on a blank face. So you have 2 eyeballs and his nose and mouth. The nose and mouth and mustache are all connected, but whoever is closest wins. It's a lot like Face Off from Mario Party 2, where you have to stretch the ears and the nose and the mouth to be like the picture on the screen. But on this one, you just have to do it as perfectly as possible. So it's basically opposite of what Face Off is, but you have a little crane that you have to use as well. And if you're off a little bit, it's off. Like, there's a few times that I actually had my eyeballs almost near the hat of Mario's head, like crushing his eyebrows. It was ridiculous. But this is a really fun game to play, especially when you're on teams with your friends, because you have to coordinate with each other and be like, no, that's not where we're supposed to be. Go over a little bit, go right, go down, and that's why it's at number 2. And last but not least, we have number 1, which is going to be, well, you already know what it is, but it's Tall Order. This one is so fun because you are on a cloud and you have a giant ice blocks. Both you and your partner have ice blocks. You have to grind onto 2 sad little penguins who are just walking under you, trying to get some food or something from the forest. You just have to fill them up with ice, with chipped ice at least. And the goal of this minigame is to try to get to as high as possible, and once you do that, you can beat the other team who is doing the same thing as you are, and if you do that correctly, then you win. And this one's really fun because you have to spin your Joy-Con in like a circular motion, just like you are doing in the actual minigame, and it's really immersive, and it's really cool to do because there's a lot of planning to this as well, because if the penguins move over a little too much, guess what happens? Your ice doesn't get into the platter, and it won't fill up the bowl at all. So there's a lot of strategy in this because you have to figure out when to actually move your Joy-Con around so it spins and grinds the ice into a pattern that it will be beneficial for you to grow your shredded ice sculpture. And that's why that's number 1, because it's just so fun to me. It's just so fun. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this top 5 video of 2v2 minigames on Super Mario Party. If you did enjoy any point, don't forget to leave a like on this video, share on Twitter, Facebook, and Reddit, and also subscribe. It's free, and hit the notification bell. Daily Mario Party goodness